talk about the Will Smith, Chris Rock, Oscar situation. I know we've heard a lot of different perspectives, and I just want to lend a little something to it. Let me give you my disclaimer. It's just my opinion. It's just my insight. If you don't agree, that's okay. You can tell a whole lot, okay? Let's start with this. You can tell a whole lot about a person and their healing journey by how well they disagree, right? And don't get me wrong, we all are to some degree emotional about things because of how they touch us, right? Sometimes some things touch us because it reminds us of this or reminds us of that. But ultimately, we have to learn how to agree to disagree. And so if you disagree with any aspect of what I'm saying, that's okay. I'm cool with that. So hello, if you're coming in, it's okay if you disagree. I'm just lending a couple of perspectives. I think I have about 6 points tonight. Won't take very, very long to get through those points, hopefully. But I want to get started with the facts. Y'all know how I'm cut. I have a degree in sociology and criminal justice. So when I show up on the scene, I show up like the officers on, Law and Order. What do we know, right? What do we know? So let's talk facts first, right? Let's talk facts first. And if I'm wrong about any of these facts, please correct me in the comments because I don't watch the Oscars. I stopped watching the Oscars when they didn't give it to Ike and Tina. Did you hear me say Ike and Tina and not Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne? I stopped watching the Oscars then because ain't no way nobody should have beat them out. Heck, the real Tina Turner, I was looking at her suspect like, I don't know if you the real Tina Turner or Angela Bassett. So that's just me. I don't watch it. So I had to catch, pieces after the fact. So if there's anything that I'm saying that's not factual, let me know. But let's get a few things out of the way before I share my viewpoint. So what happened? Let's talk about the facts. Chris Rock was the host. He made a very distasteful joke about G.I. Jane 2 due to Jada's recent revelation about her having alopecia. And to me, that is nothing to play with. And he's a comedian, right? So a lot of people are like, he's a comedian. That's what comedians do. Now, I don't know if he's friends with Will. I don't know if they're beefing. Some people said they're beefing. Some people said they're friends. But here's why I would venture to say that it was a little distasteful. Okay, let me tell you why. In 2009, Chris Rock is the same man who created a documentary called Good Hair. Okay, Good Hair. Good Hair was prompted by a question from his 3-year-old daughter as to why she did not have good hair. Now, he set out to, quote, explore the importance of hair in Black culture. Okay. According to Google, he visited hair salons, stylist competitions, and even an Indian temple to learn about hair culture. So I venture to say that it is safe, and it is safe to say that he has a greater understanding because of that documentary of how important Black hair is to the hair culture and Black culture. Okay? He did a documentary on it. He interviewed a lot of people, a lot of Black people, a lot of Indian people, a lot of people, period. So you can't say you didn't know how important Black hair was when you did a documentary on good hair. Okay, we got that out the way. Now, like I said, it's been said that him and Will are friends. I'm not sure about that. Now, Will Smith uncomfortably laughed. Now, whether that was the laugh that Miss Sophia did at the table on Color Purple, where I'm gonna laugh before I kill everybody, I don't know. Okay, because Will is pretty much at his breaking point. So I don't know if Will's laugh was an uncomfortable laugh, like he about to make me, or if it was a laugh like, woo, he went there, or I don't know. But Will laughed. Okay, it was uncomfortable. It wasn't one of those, this funny laugh. This is like, Jada rolled her eyes and showed enough displeasure for Will to say, okay, Will stood up, walked on stage, slapped Chris Rock, went back to his seat, and then Chris Rock, out of shock, said, Will Smith just smacked the ish out of me. And Will yelled twice, keep my effing wife's name out of your mouth, or whatever he said. And he said it twice. After which, he won an Oscar, but unfortunately, the night will forever be shadowed, unfortunately, by the slap, right? Instead of his accomplishments, all right? So, Chris Rock has since issued an apology, and I was told that Will Smith also kind of issued an apology in his acceptance speech. Again, I don't watch the Oscars, so I don't know if that is what he did or said. So the internet has been going crazy ever since. People were kind of like, what do you think about it? So I wanted to offer some points on it. People have said Will was right, Will was wrong. And some people said, if my man don't stand up for me like Will did for Jada, he don't love me. So let's talk about a few points now that we got that out of the way. We got some people saying he was mad when he saw her reaction. We got some people saying, his apology was fake. We got people saying all these different things, but let's talk about a couple points. Number one, unfortunately, this emotional and senseless act overshadowed his win, but not just his win, but also Samuel L. Jackson's win. Because we talk so much about Will that we didn't even realize that Samuel L. Jackson got like something similar to a Lifetime Achievement Award. And it was given to him by Denzel Washington. How big is that? Now, again, I'm not a fan of the Oscars. I'm not a fan of the Oscars at all. But at the end of the day, there are some people who consider that a top honor for their craft. And those people arguably deserve, and some of them desire that top spot. Okay? They deserve that. Samuel L. Jackson is one of those people that have paid his dues, and his night should not have been overshadowed by the slap. Will, if your night is, that's between you and what you did. But Samuel L. Jackson's night should not have been overshadowed by the slap. But most people didn't even know Samuel L. Jackson got an award because we were so intrigued and entrenched on the slap. And that leads me to my first point, is that it's something for us to think about, because we have a choice as to what we focus on and what we continue to focus on. And all we talked about was that slap. We could have talked about Samuel L. Jackson and how he should have been appreciated. We could have, but that's all we heard of. Some people didn't even know the Oscar came on last night until that slap happened. Some people have said, you know what? It doesn't matter if it was televised or not. We didn't talk about it. We could have chosen to talk about that. People didn't watch the Oscars. So that means they didn't watch what was televised either, but they still talk about the slap. So again, we cannot allow for it to be overshadowed. He deserved that moment, whether it was televised or not, but we chose to focus on what we wanted to focus on, as we always do. We have the power and the control on what we call media. The media is only going to air and continue to talk about what we do or what we find valuable. And so if we would have downplayed the slap, they would have downplayed it too. And they would have said, oh, whatever, but we didn't. We gravitate to the drama. We gravitate to the drama. And that's something that we have to own, because the twerking videos, the fighting videos, and all of that stuff wouldn't have 100 million views if we weren't sharing them, if we weren't intrigued by them. I know it's tight. I know it's tight. But it's something for us to think about, because we choose what we focus on. And what we focus on continues. And it continues to grow. Okay, so my first point is we gravitate to the negative and we boost it. We boost it, and we have to learn to stop doing that, because again, we dictate a whole lot more than we really realize. Okay, we really realize. That's number one. So I want to get that out of the way first. Shout out to Samuel L. Jackson. He done played everything from Gator to getting drugged down in Time to Kill. He done paid his dues, so shout out to him. All right. Number two, people said that Jada got Will out here acting a fool. No, we won't do that. We won't do that up and through here, because Jada can't have Will acting nothing, acting like no fool. Will is good and grown. Okay, yeah, they talking about Wesley Snipes was dressed up. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole, because I don't know what that get up was. I don't know what that was, and I don't know what he going through, but it's a little weird. Okay, but here's what I want to say. Will is good and grown, and if I'm not mistaken, he older than her. She can't make him do nothing. He good and grown. We got to stop holding other folks accountable for people's reactions, because we don't want to admit that that's just what they're doing. Okay? Will is good and grown, and at the end of the day, we are responsible for our responses, even if we are provoked. I stand on it. I don't care what nobody else has to say about that. We are responsible for our responses, even if we are provoked. You are, I am, Will Smith is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. We are responsible. It does not matter if you're provoked. We still have a decision to make. We still have a decision to make. Now, is he human? Absolutely. Are we human? Absolutely. Do we err? Absolutely. 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 Will laughed, but when he saw her embarrassment, like a husband and a provider and a protector, because provision is more than financial. Remember that, right? Provision sometimes for a woman is security. So as a provider and a protector, because, he felt the need to do something, and rightfully so, because that's her husband. Rightfully so. That's her husband, and that was a man. And that man was saying something about her. So it was his job to intervene. So my issue is not with the fact that he did something. Because one of my Facebook friends said that if he laughing and she ain't laughing and she got a problem, then we got a problem. And I'm with that 100%. Shout out to him. However, what he did and how he did it was the problem. I don't put no godly expectations on celebrities. They're human like we are. But some of us out here making excuses for them because we like them, because they got money. No, we are responsible for our responses no matter how we are provoked. But we're still human. But it don't change. Okay? It don't change. We have to stop making excuses for people because of how we feel about them. We have to stop making excuses for people because of how we would have wanted somebody to react for us. And we have to stop making excuses for someone because of what they've been through. Because it still don't change what happened. We can have compassion, we can have sympathy, we can have empathy without calling right wrong. I'm going to say that again for the people all the way in the back. We can have compassion, we can have sympathy, we can have empathy without calling right wrong. We can. We can. So like it or not, there was a way to defend her honor with class and still get your point across. There was. But y'all know me. Let's go a little deeper. Because my question becomes, why did he need to go to the extreme? Because let's be real, okay, just for a moment. It wasn't just because she was embarrassed. Because this was not the first time embarrassment that hit their family, their marriage, him or her. Okay? To my understanding, Chris Rock done said something to them before. So this was not the first time embarrassment done reached up on their plateau. It ain't the first time. It ain't the first time it's done hit them. Let's move to point number 3 as to why he had to go to the extreme. Number 3, transparency is good, but it must be governed by wisdom. I'll say it one more time. Transparency is good, but it must be governed by wisdom. Transparency must be governed by wisdom. Why? We have to be careful what we release because we surely will receive. We have to be careful what we reveal because we surely will receive. Surely will receive. Everybody can't handle knowing everything about you, and some things have to be revealed in time. Sometimes there's a time when hearts can receive and not judge, can receive and not look at you sideways. It's a time, and God often tells you when that time is. They done told everybody everything. They share so much of their life and marriage, and I won't say it's too much because that ain't my place to say. But here's what I will tell you, and you can argue with me all day, but you know I'm right deep down. If Steve Harvey and Marjorie Harvey were on that front row, Chris Rock wouldn't have said a thing about Marjorie. You know why? Because Steve don't play with his wife. I'm going to say it again. If Steve and Marjorie were on that front row, Chris Rock wouldn't have played with Steve about his wife because of how he respects her. He don't play about Marjorie. People only play with your mate when you do. People only play with your mate when they don't respect you. 2 reasons. They only play with your mate when they don't respect you. They only play with your mate when you don't respect them. You understand? People have watched the Smith fiasco and lost respect for Will over the years. Chris Rock said G.I. Jane 2. Did y'all understand the concept? G.I. Jane 1 was who? Demi Moore. Who did Demi Moore marry? Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher was how old? Same similarity to who? Jada and August. The joke was a little deeper than alopecia. No, I would never make fun of her. Never make fun of her condition, but it was a little deeper than alopecia, baby. Okay? A little deeper than alopecia. Baby, the respect is gone for the whole Smith family. And it's because they didn't exercise wisdom in what they revealed. Everything ain't for everybody because everybody can't look at you the same when you're in the limelight like that. So they think they can play with him, and him slapping Chris Rock won't change that. It's only going to make a person get ready for him if they want to say something too, because they know he coming. I'm not sure what Chris Rock thought he was finna do, okay? Some people said it was fake, and that kind of make me wonder if it was fake, and was it, because what did Chris Rock think he was finna do? You done just said something about this man's wife. He done climbed up and got up and came up on the stage. Did you think he was coming to give you a hug? I'm just a little confused. What did you think, Chris, what he was finna do? Was you a little shocked, little thrown off? Because I'd have been backing up like, what we finna do? Like, bro, don't walk up on me like that. I'm just saying. So Chris Rock might not say nothing else, but it ain't gonna stop other people from saying nothing because the internet been popping. It's been popping. Ain't nobody gonna stop. They still don't have no respect for him. Let me say this, if you don't understand nothing else I say tonight, emotional responses never garner respect. Emotional responses never garner respect. Somebody said that's the D in me getting ready. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna walk up on me. Listen, emotional responses never garner respect, but only short-term gratification. Emotional responses only get you short-term gratification. You understand? But again, we all have them and we all human. So I'm not taking that away from him. But this was misplaced anger. Chris Rock indeed took that hit for a lot of people that Will Smith didn't hit or couldn't hit. That's how I feel. Chris Rock took that hit for a lot of people that he did not or could not hit. But Will ought to be more upset with himself than anybody else. And you know why? Let's move to number 4. Number 4, when it comes to relationships, nothing happens publicly that hasn't been building privately. I'm going to say it one more time. When it comes to relationships, nothing happens publicly that has not already been building privately. Will arguably has gone to a lot of extremes, and maybe she has too, because sometimes one mate goes through a lot of apparent extremes, while the other one may have taken some sacrifices and gone through some extremes that we didn't see. But Will has gone through a lot of extremes in an effort to make Jada happy. She said that herself. But it's not his responsibility, she said this too, to make her happy. He's only supposed to add to the happiness. But how do I know he's gone through a lot of extremes? See, here's the thing. I was a Will Smith fan for a long time, all the way from back when he was, the Fresh Prince, but when he was rapping, all that type of stuff. And I remember one day he was on the television show and Will Smith was talking about his oldest son and how his oldest son thought he was going to jump, nuck, if you buck, and try to act like he was going to do something. And Will said, I took the hinges off the door because you don't pay no bills and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But baby, how did you go from that to children should have freedom of responsibility? They can declare their sexual orientation at 11. They can do this. They can do that. They can turn their hair colors and all of that. You know why? Because you compromise. The oldest son ain't doing all that. So who's the common denominator with them other two? Jada. So you can argue the point. But who's the common denominator with them other two? Because that oldest little boy like, hey, I'm going to be over here because I don't know what they doing. Who's the common denominator with them other two? Jada. So in that interview, Will say, I'll take them door hinges off. You went from taking door hinges off to allowing kids to do whatever they want to do. Now, I know people do change and they grow up and they grow a little more lenient as we get older, but baby, that ain't lenient. You done leaned over. Oh, okay. No, he went along with it. Jada has glorified Tupac and August Alsina, but on many, many occasions, she just talks about how unhappy and sad she was with Will. Like, boo, when you gonna uplift him? Like, you still with him? He watched his wife mourn the loss of a man while also mourning in the midst of their marriage. So not only was she mourning Tupac, she mourning in the midst of the marriage. Don't want to be with me, not happy being with me. Wait. He said on national television it became the butt of entanglement jokes as she came out about August Alsina, someone that I heard that he welcomed into his home. And at the end of that interview, I don't know if y'all caught it, he said, and I quote, I'm going to get you back. If you didn't see the pain in his face, I don't know what you were looking at. He said, I'm going to get you back. That's what he said. Somebody said, I've never heard her uplift him as she does, as you know, uplift her. She's never uplifted him like he uplifts her. Hear me clearly. Everybody got a breaking point. Okay? Everybody got a breaking point. And see, the truth of the matter is, hear me clearly. You can give a person the world, but if they don't want it from you, they will pawn that world to get a globe. You can give them the world, but they will pawn it to get a globe. To get a globe. You understand? Because they don't want it from you. They settled for you, but they don't want it from you. They want the world from him. Tupac wasn't finna give her the world. August wasn't either. All the people she speak highly of wasn't giving her the world. But another thing, you can't take the top off Pandora's box, baby, and get mad when it no longer fits. See, when you get to swinging and being in a relationship and they, you know, his little book talked about all the different women he was with and then they giving each other permission to be all that. Listen, I believe in the Bible. If you don't, that's okay. But there is a reason why it needs to be a set amount of folk in a marriage, okay? Because when things get out of hand, all of a sudden you start like, I kind of want to be with her a little bit more. I kind of like him a little more. You can't do what they do. Do you understand that there's an order for a reason? And when you take the top off Pandora's box, you can't get mad when it don't fit on there no more because you done stretched Pandora out. You can't get mad. That's why Will just went on staying with her, because he knew what he signed up for. He knew what he allowed. Compromise is okay, but it is hard to come back from compromising your dignity, and even more as a man, when you compromise your leadership, it's almost hard to come back from that at all. He has compromised his leadership. He has compromised his leadership. He has compromised his leadership. And nobody respects him anymore. Nobody respects him anymore. So he was taking his respect back, but lost even more than that. That slap won't bring back dignity or leadership. It won't. I just told you, emotional responses don't get you what you want. It don't garner respect. It don't. It only gives you short-term satisfaction, short-term. Which leads me to point number 5. Some of our responses and comments are from a place of frustration because he's still with her after that entanglement. Listen, most people were mad because it was a woman doing it to a man, but men do it all the time. And that doesn't make it right. But at the end of the day, because she was making him, yes, he's human and we all fall short. But at the end of the day, we still got to be accountable for what we fall, how we fall. We got to take that. And we can't keep making excuses just because we like him or because of what he's been through or we feel sorry for him. No, we can't. Yes, we all fall short. I said that. I said that in the beginning. We all fall short. But we can have compassion, we can have empathy and sympathy without calling right wrong. We just got to stop it. Because even if I did it, let me put it on me. Even if I did it, it's still wrong. It's still wrong. She said their sex life have nothing to do with what happened. Their life has everything to do with what happened. Everything to do with what happened. Everything. It's an underlying situation. Nobody gets up at the Oscars. Nobody gets up at the Oscars. Nobody gets up at the Oscars. Where they are nominated, where they gonna win Best Actor. Nobody gets up at the Oscars and acts a fool if it's not an underlying situation. This was building, baby. This was building. This was not what he's just said. That was just the tip of the iceberg. That was just the nail in the coffin. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But baby, this been mounting. That man been hurting. He's been the butt of jokes. At the end of the day, he has been dealing with situations. I'm not saying that he's not human, but I'm saying that even in our humanness, we still got to be accountable. We just do. People act out emotionally every day, but that don't make it right. That's why they go to jail. They go to prison or whatever. The judge don't say, well, you know what? We understand. People act out emotion every single day, but just because he Will Smith don't mean that we tolerate it. And it don't mean that we nail him to the cross even harder either, though. We just got to stop making excuses for it. We have to. And again, we can still say that, yes, we have sympathy and empathy for him, but we can't keep calling right, wrong, and wrong, right, just because we like somebody or because, well, don't they have an open marriage? To my understanding, they have. I don't know. But that's the thing. Sometimes when you open a marriage, you be wanting to close it, but now it don't fit. Now it's not the same. Now it's not the same. Okay? He's broken. Yeah, probably. All right, so number 5, some people comments came from a place of frustration because he's still with her after the entanglement. I heard so many people say he should have dealt with August Alsina that way, but at the end of the day, why would he? They played the open marriage game or whatever kind of game it was, and when the box was open, it's hard to close it, so you can't cry about it. So don't stay with her because you shouldn't have played the game. And the same thing if it was vice versa. If it was him doing whatever he wanted to do and she was mad about it, you played the game. That's why you don't play the game. I've never known a person that has had a threesome. Never known a person that's had a threesome and it worked out for them. Somebody always get jealous. Somebody always get jealous. You was with her more. Y'all was together behind my back. That's why you don't play them games. Don't play them games. If you do, then you signed up for it. You know what you signed up for. If he chose to stay, then he needs to continue to fulfill his duty, and his duty was to absolutely protect his wife. So my issue is not him protecting his wife, it's how he chose to do it. Is he wrong? Yes. Is he human? Yes. Could it have been handled a different way? Absolutely. But again, he's human? Yes. But he still got to be accountable. If Chris Rock chose to sue him, he'd win. That's a fact. That's reality. If Chris Rock chose to sue him, he did it on national TV. Chris Rock don't need nothing. He don't need nobody. He don't need nobody to say whether Will did it or not. Everybody know he did it. I got a comment that says Chris also came hard at him in 2016 about not boycotting. He made jokes about them and they weren't there, weren't invited, and he and Will were good friends. So he's looking like, oh, now you want to get in on it too. Not condoning his reaction, but I see what it was also. I see what it also was beyond pressures of marriage. I understand that, but again, he's still accountable. He's still accountable. You know what I'm saying? For how he handled it. Nobody's saying you can't have emotions. Whether you biblical, the Bible said be angry but sin not. Whether you science, the law say be angry but sin not. All I'm saying is we can't make excuses for whatever the reason is. We have to learn to hold them accountable. And again, we can be sympathetic, empathetic, and we can be compassionate without calling right wrong. We can still have compassion for him. We can still have sympathy for him. We can have empathy for him. We can even understand where he was coming from, but it still was not the right thing to do. It wasn't. It just wasn't. So if Will chose to stay, he needs to fulfill his duties. And I respect that about him. Because no matter if she cheated with August Alsina or 50 other people, if he chooses to stay, then he definitely needs to protect his wife. Bottom line. And I respect that about him because at least he stayed and he's not saying, oh, well, she cheated. So tell August to stick up for you. Okay. I absolutely say that. And it's amazing to me how fellas are okay when the roles are reversed. But because a woman got down on a man this time, y'all hate Jada. Y'all hate Jada. Because it was a woman get down on a man and she humiliated him. But how many women get humiliated every day? Is it right? No. But the point is, it's not about who's right. It's about what's right. Y'all got to stop condoning stuff because it's a man and because that's just what men do. No, it's wrong if a man does it. It's wrong if a woman does it. So Jada ain't no different than your greasy head daddy and granddaddy who had outside babies and whatever else they did. If he did it, it's wrong. If she did it, it's wrong. But y'all hate Jada because Jada got down on a man the way that the women, that the men get down on the women. Cut it out. Cut it out. They literally hate her so much that they hate Jada because Jada got down on Will and humiliated one of theirs. And every day we watch USA Today called me to ask me, what did I think? What did I think about Tristan and Chloe? And why? Because he over there playing with her. And you know what people will say? So? Struggle love is well, she chose to go through it. Well, guess what? He did too. So again, right is right, wrong is wrong. That's just what it is. And it don't matter who, it matters what. So let me get to number 6. And let me say this. Will knew what it was, but he didn't know who it was when it came to August Alsina. If you know what it is, you can't get mad at who it is because you know what it was. He knew what it was. He just didn't know who it was, probably. So if you know what it is, you can't get mad at who it is because it don't matter who, you knew what. And if you signed up for what, deal with it. Last but not least, and thank you for hanging with me. If you have just come in, I'm Zakiya Monique, Master Relationship Strategist. Let me tell y'all, number one was, unfortunately, the emotional and senseless act overshadowed not only his win, but Samuel L. Jackson's. And somebody says, oh, but it wasn't televised. Doesn't matter if it wasn't televised or not. Nobody even knew that Samuel L. Jackson got something similar to a Lifetime Achievement Award that I believe he absolutely deserves. But why? Because it was overshadowed by what we chose to focus on. Okay. Number 2, people said that Jada got Will out here acting a fool. No, we are responsible for our responses even when we're provoked. That was on him. That was his choice. That was his decision. Okay. Again, he's human. We're not saying that. He's human. Absolutely. But it was still his decision to do that. She didn't make him. And everybody was saying, well, she didn't stop him. She shouldn't have had to. Just saying. Number 3, transparency is good, but it must be governed by wisdom. You can't tell everybody everything because they can't handle it. Some people can't handle knowing certain things about you at certain times either. So we have to allow God to govern that. And I stand behind what I said, that if Steve Harvey and Marjorie Harvey were sitting in that front row, Chris Rock wouldn't have played with them because Steve don't play by his wife. So again, listen, people only play with your mate the way you do. Number 4, when it comes to relationships, nothing happens publicly that has not been building and mounting privately. Yeah, people forgot all about Beyonce's performance. They didn't care nothing about none of that. Okay. When it comes to relationships, nothing happens publicly that has not already been building privately. Okay. So at the end of the day, this has already been building. Y'all, you can't possibly think that this slap was just about what Chris Rock said, even though he said some slick stuff. Do you understand? G.I. Jane was not about just the alopecia. It was not. Okay. It was a comparison to Demi and Ashton, which was similar to Jada and August. That's what got the fire slapped out of, if you really want to know. So, number 5, some people comments came from a place of frustration because he's still with her after the entanglement, but they wouldn't have been mad if it was the other way around. So if it was a guy that got down on a girl, they wouldn't care about that. But the fact that he stayed with her, they feel like he should have slapped August like that. No, he shouldn't, because he knew what it was. He just didn't know who it was. And number six. To the women who said, if my husband don't defend me like Will did, then he doesn't love me. Check your measure of love. Check your measure of love. Why? We all want to be protected. Okay, we love and value security at some level. We all got different levels of security. But isn't it a little hypocritical for us to want a man to go out and kill everybody and prove his love? But the minute that we talk about struggle love, we get mad because we got to be there for him 11 years out of my life. Beside the kids, I got nothing to show. Isn't that a little hypocritical? We want him to go out and shoot up everybody over us to show that he loves us. We want him to go out and slap people. We want him to go out and do all of this to show he loves us. But we don't want to be subject to struggle love. I'm not saying we should be, but I'm saying he shouldn't either. A man shouldn't have to slap fire from everybody He shouldn't have to let people know he don't play about you by being violent. People should know he don't play about you by how he treats you. I just told you they wouldn't have did that to Steve Harvey because Steve Harvey let everybody in the whole white world know. The whole white world. Did you hear me put the T's at the end? The whole white world. He let them all know he don't play by Marjorie. He will kiki, he's a comedian, but he don't play by Marjorie. And so guess what? Ain't nobody else gonna play by Marjorie because otherwise they're gonna get some smoke from Steve, and they know this. So we got to stop it with the double standard. If we don't feel like we should have to take nothing and deal with nothing to prove our love, then men shouldn't have to be out here shooting and slapping up folks either. Check your measure of love if you feel like a man got to go slap fire from somebody. No, you ain't got to slap fire from nobody. Treat me well. Treat me well enough for him to know he can't play with me. That's what you do. Do that. Treat me so well that he already know not to play with me. That's how you can honor me. You don't honor me by going to kill everybody because now you in jail. Now we got to play that game. Now I got to go to court, and now I got to wait on you, or you got life and all of that. No. Don't do that because I don't want you in harm's way. When you love somebody, you don't want them in harm's way. So at the end of the day, you ain't got to go shoot up the world to prove to me that you love me. If that's what you think love is, we got a problem, Houston. So many females was if you don't slap nobody like it. And let me be clear, no shade to anybody, but half of the people that were screaming that ain't did nothing to offer nothing for nobody to slap nobody about. I'm gonna move on. Some of us ain't bringing nothing to the table, not even a chair. Not a chair. Nothing. We ain't bringing nothing to the table. We want somebody to slap fire from somebody and risk penitentiary and lawsuits and all that type of stuff. What you bringing to the table that's gonna make him slap fire to somebody? All right. Okay. Okay. We don't want to have to prove our love by dealing with outside babies and cheating and all of that type of stuff, but we want him to go shoot up America. Come on. We want him to go slap down somebody for us and catch a few charges for us to let us know. Come on now. Somebody says, I heard the writers wrote the joke and Chris did apologize to Jada and Will, which was extra big of him. He gave a sincere apology. I did talk about that at the beginning. I said that he did offer apology since then. And someone told me that Will offered, a little bit of an apology for his behavior. And I do want to say this, that Tyler Perry and Denzel did embrace Will. And I think that is the biggest thing that we can do. Instead of shunning a person and dogging a person, we let them know. I heard that Denzel said to him that, when you're at the height, when you're at the biggest moment of your life is when the devil attacks you. And I believe that was just so big of Tyler Perry and Denzel to gravitate to him and say, no, we're not letting you go because we know you're hurting, right? We need more of that. We need more mentorship in Hollywood. We need more of the old heads to say, come on, this is the way, because it's way too many of the young ones there are so many of the young ones that are out here amiss and have to find their own way when they wouldn't have to do that if some of the older people would say, hey, come on, I'll help you. On the flip side, some of the young people got to be more teachable and coachable. Okay? Because sometimes we don't want to hear that old way until that new way start busting them. Okay, I'm trying to do right. I've been trying to do right. When that new way get to busting your head, you start trying to investigate alternatives. Okay? When them kids get to go on the raid, your wife ain't happy. You like, I thought if I let her do what she wanted to do, I thought that'd make her happy. Then sometimes you got to go back to that old way. Denzel's wife don't play. Denzel Washington don't play by his wife neither. Paulette, have a seat. Paulette be in her little gown. Paulette be in her little gown. He don't play about his wife. So don't nobody play with his wife. Ladies, when he don't play about you, ain't nobody gonna play with you. But this fiasco that the Smiths done created, it's a mess. And that's what happens when you open Pandora's box and try to create your own order. It just is. So again, if you don't, someone said, I think it was very big of Chris to respond the way he did. I think it was amazing for him to just say what he needed to say. I mean, he probably said some other stuff in the back room because I probably would have like, oh, we're not, but anyway, but what I want to say is it's a mess. And this is what happened when you continue to compromise what you know is right, your dignity, your leadership. At some point, the rubber band breaks. At some point, the rubber band breaks. So you can keep stretching and stretching and stretching. And it seems like, this is just me talking, it seems like the more he gave, the more she wanted, because she didn't want it from him. This is just my perspective about listening. And I've watched Red Table Talks. I've watched her talk about him and her and their marriage and their relationship. And it seems like the more he gave her, the more she wanted. But it was because she didn't want it from him. And this is what happens when we settle. When somebody settles, that's why don't settle for me. 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 Because if you settle for somebody, you never really get what you want. It's almost like when you like, I want something good to eat. I want something sweet. You settle for the sweet potato pie, but you really want the cheesecake. You eat the sweet potato pie, but you're like, but that didn't hit the spot. So you're still in search of the cheesecake. See, that's the thing. She's still searching. And let me tell you one thing that I believe. If a person's still interviewing, you ain't get the job. If a person's still interviewing, you didn't get the job. You just attempt. Will was a temp that turned permanent because her permanent didn't want to be permanent. That's just my perspective. I could be wrong, though. I can be wrong. But if he's still interviewing, you attempt. You're not a permanent. You attempt. But I come to tell you that somebody will give you permanent employment. Okay? Somebody will give you permanent employment. You ain't got to be a temp for nobody. You don't. But if he's still interviewing, you ain't get the job. You just attempt. I love y'all. I hope y'all ain't mad at me. But if y'all are, we just got to learn how to agree to disagree. That's all. That's all. We just have to learn how to agree to disagree. And that's okay. Because I know sometimes my opinions be a little touchy. Be a little, I want to punch her. Like, I want to punch her, but that's my phone. I want to punch her, but that's my computer, But I love y'all. And that's just my 2 cents. It's okay if you don't take the 2 cents. You probably got 25. Somebody said he was laughing at first when he seen she was upset. That's when he lost it. Yeah, he had to do something. He had to do something. And once again, he's always in a position where he has to do something for her to be happy. See, you got to beware. If I always got to do something for you to be happy, let me tell you something. Somebody who loves me, and I know that he loves me. Somebody who loves me says, just being with you is enough for me. Just being with you is enough for me. I don't care if your hair wrapped up. I don't care. Just being with you is enough for me. Because if I got to always do something for you to be happy, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to have to always do something for you to be happy. Dang. It's okay. Come on. Come on. Somebody said, ladies, if you don't like to be played with, we will not play with you. I respect the ones that earn respect. At the end of the day, they're going to be, look. Come on, man. At some point, you do not have to work all day for the one who loves you. But you will work when somebody settles for you. When they settle for you, it's not enough. It never is. It never is. Somebody said, I understand why he felt the need to address it, but I just wish he had done it behind stage. Absolutely. Again, it needed to be addressed. Because at the end of the day, he showed no respect. None. I mean, it ain't funny, but none. But when you set up a platform for people not to respect you, what you think gonna happen? When you allow that type, come on, you cannot allow. You understand? You cannot allow people to play with you, people to disrespect you. But when your own house does, when your own home disrespects you, you think people in the street gonna respect you? They watched that man on national television be made a fool out of, and they lost respect for him then. And a slap ain't gonna get them that respect back. Somebody said she controlled his perspective or perception of the joke. True, but he allowed it. Because she can't do nothing that he don't allow. at all. Somebody said Will needed validation from the emasculation, exhausted trauma that he has been under at the house by his wife. It's displaced anger. Displaced, misplaced anger. It is. Like I said, Chris Rock took the slap for a whole lot of people that Will couldn't or didn't slap. He did. He did. He absolutely did. And it's unfortunate, though. I don't like the Oscars. I don't watch the Oscars, but it's unfortunate because that's what they already expect of us, this foolishness. They expect foolishness of us, and we always seem to come and pay the bill. And it's so unfortunate because we always show up and act a fool somehow. Somehow. Yes, he is very, very blessed that he did not get locked up, because Chris Rock could have definitely filed, and he wouldn't have needed no help. Okay? I don't mess with the Oscars. I don't. When Ike and Tina didn't win, it was a wrap for me. I never liked them anyway. But I don't mess with them anyway. Somebody had to tell me what happened. But I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Again, I hope that this has shed a little bit of light on some things. Some people thought it was about the joke. The joke was deeper than people really knew. And I think it's really unfortunate because he's at his breaking point. He's at his breaking point. And Chris Rock did say, somebody said he did say that he was not filing charges. And that's a good thing, because it was a moment. And I'm thankful that Will be able to recoup in some way from that. But it's not going to get him the respect that he really, really desires. It's not. It's hard to come back from a lack of leadership. It's hard to come back from that. You know, once you relinquish your leadership in your home, it's hard to come back from that, especially when you've done so on national television. It's hard to come back from that. All right. So I love y'all. I hope this has shed a little bit of light on things for you. And I want you to have a great day. You already know how, on purpose. God bless you. And thanks for tuning in with me.